everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Open Mind Podcast. My name is Caroline. I'm a junior at Columbia University, and I'm so excited to be starting this new podcast where we'll be talking about school and life and everything in between. Every episode will feature a different guest and a different topic, and today I'm so excited to be introducing my good friend, Daniel Kaur. Dan, thank you for being here with me today.
Thanks, Caroline. It's honestly a huge honor to be on the show as your first guest. So I want to say thank you and hello to all the viewers back at home. My name is Dan. I'm 20 years old. I go to Columbia College and I'm a junior and major in Econ, play golf. So that's pretty fun.
Yes. So Dan and I were in the same year at Columbia. And I know it's been a couple of years, but do you remember how we met / how we knew each other?
I remember something about a capture the flag game during NSOP, and I don't know if we were on the same team or not. Do you remember?
I don't know. I was wondering that too. So I feel like we weren't on the same team, but there was like a shirts, and I think they were both shirts. I don't even know. It was like different colored teams. It was not no shirts,
and then the other team has like put like a piece of paper on their on their stomach, and it was really rigged. So I remember that. We should have won, but we didn't.
Yeah, it was dark too. It was like 11 o'clock at night. This was during our
it went on for 3 hours. It was crazy.
It's crazy. It was fun though. Yeah, and then that was during orientation week. So basically, NSOP is Columbia's welcome week. And they had like nightly activities, so that was fun. And then we also both lived in Fernald. So I was on the 4th floor. Dan, which floor were you on?
I was on the 6th floor.
But you hung out on the 4th floor, right?
Yeah, I was on the 4th floor more than my own floor. Definitely.
Yeah, it was fun. Floor 4 was good. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
And then we were also on hall council together.
Yeah. So I think one day me and a couple other floor 4 friends went down to the hall council election meeting because Caroline was running for president. So we wanted to cheer her on. And then they were like, oh, we have a lot of vacant spots available. So if anyone wants to come up and give a speech, that'd be great and, help out. So I think I ad-libbed like the worst speech ever, but got the job. So that was fun.
Yay. Yeah, that was good. That was a good first year. We made a lot of good events. We made like nice and fun.
Yeah, it was all you, honestly, but yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Very good.
All your help, honestly. Okay. Cool. So Dan also mentioned that he was a golf player at Columbia. And so that's what this episode is going to be about, kind of about the student athlete life at an Ivy League university. Do you want to kind of talk about what exactly the Ivy League is in terms of athletics? Because I kind of know about it, but I actually don't really know too much about the history of that.
Yeah, sure. So the Ivy League is basically like the 8 Ivy League schools in its own division. So there's like Brown, Columbia, Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Penn, Dartmouth, Cornell. Might be one other there I'm missing, but I think that's all of them. And so all of these teams compete against each other at the end of the season, and the winner gets to go on to a conference tournament. And if you win that, you get to go on to nationals. So I think that's how it works in every sport. I could be wrong, but that's how it works in golf at least.
Awesome. And you guys Columbia golf is pretty good, right?
Yeah, we were struggling for a long time. There was like this dark era where like our team came in like last place at every event. But like, I think ever since, I'm not trying to brag, but ever since I went there and then a couple other really good freshmen came in and helped the team out, I think that we've been on an upward trend since then. So I'm really happy.
Nice. Yeah. And I think we're on our winter break now, right? So like we had the last day of classes, I'm going to say it was the day before, actually, no, last day of finals was the day before Christmas Eve. And so I had my last final on the Tuesday. So like the day before that. Yeah. And so break has been nice for me, but I think you said that you were on a tournament or like, how was your winter break in general?
Oh yeah, it was pretty good. I think, I was up in the city for the part of the fall from I think August to Thanksgiving, but I decided to come back because I wanted to spend time with my family and get away from the city and back into Florida nature type of vibe. And play a lot of golf. So yeah, I played a lot of tournaments down here since then, and it's been fun. Yeah, it's been nice to get away from like the busy life of the city. How has winter break been for you, Caroline?
It's been a good time. I watched lots of Netflix. I'm watching Sherlock now, so I'm on episode 2 of season 4, but it's like only 3 episodes or 4 episodes per season, so it's not that much. Been doing
Have
some
you seen
reading.
Queen's Gambit?
Sorry. Oh no, I haven't, but I heard it's really good.
Yeah, no, I haven't either. I need to watch that.
So what are your plans for next semester? Golf wise and also just like where you'll be living.
So I still have the apartment up in New York. I think I'm going to be living with my friends up there. I think people living on campus this fall semester have had really good experiences. So I'm happy for people that are up there again. But yeah, for me, I think I prefer off campus a bit better. So golf wise, our team is still trying to do a golf season. So hopefully we'll be able to start in March and yeah, travel a lot because I don't think we're allowed to be on planes. So our first tournament being in Georgia, we'll have to drive like 17 hours.
Oh,
So that would be fun. A lot of team bonding.
yeah. Oh my
Might
God.
get sick of them, but it'll be
Wow, that's
fun.
interesting. So it's in March. Yeah, hopefully things will be better by then.
Yeah.
But I guess for golf, is it kind of innately socially distant because it's such a big field and area, or how does that?
Yeah, you would think that because during competition, you really just don't talk to any of your teammates because you're so far apart all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of team bonding that goes on in between tournaments, and I think you get to be pretty close with your team, like no matter what you're doing. So, even though you're not really interacting with each other on the course, I think having like the sort of motivation from your teammates, like 3 holes away, they're like, good putt, that helps a
See
lot
them in
too.
the distance.
Yeah, yeah, like just like a fist pump, middle of the round. That's great. Yeah.
That's funny. Talking about, I mean, I've always been curious. This is a question that I had. Do athletes in college know each other before you guys come to college and like play together? Like, do you guys know each other from tournaments in high school and before? Or do you guys meet each other for the first time at college?
Yeah, I think it's different for every sport, but for golf at least, I think all of the junior players are pretty interconnected because we all play the same types of tournaments and we're
Mm.
all trying to like get into the best tournaments. So I have a lot of friends at like, UC Berkeley, at like other Ivy League schools that I met over junior golf and we kind of just went to different schools afterward. And same thing with Columbia. I played with a couple guys on my team before and got to know them pretty well before I got here. How about you? Did you get to know a lot of people before you got to Columbia?
Columbia? I mean, we did have several people like in my year from high school come to Columbia. So they're
Oh,
like third years too.
yeah.
But other than that, but other than that, not really. I don't think I knew that many people. I think I just met them during orientation and then throughout classes and extracurriculars and just like on campus.
Through like the recruiting process, you get to visit the schools, or the coaches invite you to visit the schools. So I was able to come and check out the practice facility and the campus, and I was able to sit in on some classes too. So it was really nice to get sort of a
Oh,
preview of
that's
Columbia
cool.
life.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. How was like the whole recruitment process before then? I'm sure it was like pretty intense, right?
I think it's kind of stressful depending on how you look at it because on one hand you get to like this point, I guess, in your like you know athletic career where your scores kind of start mattering a bit more because colleges are watching and you're worried a lot more about your future at times. But for me, I kind of just wanted to play the best golf I could and not worry too much about all that, like the college recruitment stuff. So yeah, it was a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, a lot of visiting different schools. But I think that getting to know my coach here at Columbia and him being like such a chill and motivated guy, I was like, this is a great school for me. So I'd rather just stop looking and just pick. Yeah.
How early on did you know that you were committed?
I knew at the start of my junior year, and I think a lot of kids for junior golf actually commit a lot earlier than that. But it's because the Ivy League requires that you have your ACT score in, you have your like some other SATs or other exams, and then have like a pretty good GPA into your junior year, they prefer like waiting a bit longer. So I think I waited a bit longer than other kids to commit.
Okay, awesome. Oh, that's so cool. It's very interesting. Because I feel like then you have the stress of your, do you still have to like, you still have to go through the application process itself, right? Like
Yeah, it's a
the
do a
essays
Common
and
App.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's that plus a whole nother side.
Right, right. Because
Athletics and academics.
I
Yeah.
think most other schools, if you get recruited, chances are you're going to get into the school through the application process. But for Ivy Leagues, I know like some other Ivy Leagues, I think Columbia is a bit more lenient, although don't quote me on this, but yeah, you're not guaranteed entry into the school until your common application goes through. So even if you're committed to going to the school, that kind of means you're committed to applying to the school, and the coach will, yeah, the coach will help you get in, but he can't guarantee anything.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. I guess like thinking about golf as a sport itself. I mean, I in high school I tried golf. I mean, like in gym class we had different units, right? So we had soccer, we had swim, and we had golf. I could not even hold a golf club properly, and this was me as like a 13, 14-year old. How did you start golf? I'm assuming you started when you were really young, right? In order to be good enough to be recruited.
Yeah, my parents definitely pushed me on to a lot of different sports when I was young. Like my dad was a huge athlete in college, so he naturally like wanted me to play like every sport. So I played like a bit of basketball, like soccer, and then golf. And I think golf was like the most chance I had of like getting into like a college with the sport. So he was like, just stick with golf. And I started really enjoying it, and I started really liking like how intense it was, and how many juniors were playing and getting into the sport, and how much it was expanding as a sport while I was growing up. So it was really a cool time to be playing. But what about you? Like, did you play? I mean, you said like you did a bit of swimming, right?
I swam, so I did varsity swim in high school.
Oh, cool.
Not a varsity athlete in college, but swam for 4 years in high school. Other sports, not really, not too much. I scored this was what, like seventh grade soccer PE class. I scored my only goal and it was for the wrong team. And I was happy for one
Oh,
second
no.
and then I realized, but all good, all
Yeah,
good.
I've done that too. Yeah, own goals. They're,
Yeah,
they're, yeah, they stick with you. But
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, I know that like Dodge has a really good swimming facility. So do you go there a
Mm.
lot?
I did. I think I started going there more sophomore year,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it was like nighttime. Like they have night swims from like 7:30 or something, like 7 to 9 or something like that. That was nice. It was nice. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so and I know like even more, maybe that's like the most underground, but then I know you guys have your like sports practice areas in Dodge. So Dodge is actually our fitness center, our gym, like our campus gym on Morningside campus. So how is that? Like it's like a nice secret underground. Not secret. I mean, I guess like athletes know about
It does seem pretty secret.
it.
It's like just out of, it's it's like just underground in the basement of Dodge.
Mhm.
It's really dark, and like the you're there at like 7 a.m. and it's like a really weird atmosphere, but it's cool. It's like the New York type of vibe. Like, you're just training in the basement while stuff is going on outside. But it could be better. I think a lot of players on my team have, wanted like a bigger, more spacious area for athletes. And yeah, not just for athletes, but just for students in general to have space to work out. Because I'm sure like Dodge Fitness is kind of packed, on certain times and days of the year. So yeah, I hope the school will consider expanding that area and giving us like a better type of well-being experience.
I guess like you showed me the golf room. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, yeah, the
Okay.
golf room.
And there was like this, I was surprised because I didn't know that you could practice golf indoors. But I guess you can because it was like a virtual thing. Do you want to
Yeah,
explain like what that was?
yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's a simulator, and basically you just swing into a net, and there's this computer that detects how fast your club goes and how straight your ball should fly if you were playing in an open area. And you can actually play courses, and so it's like a video game sort of, but for practice. Yeah, and it's I think lately we've been getting a lot better access to like the cooler technology out there with like flight scope and putt view. So it's like devices that tell you like how your putt's going to break, or like how far your ball is going to travel, and it's getting really accurate. So it makes indoor practice a lot easier and a lot better.
Yeah, that sounds cool. And like regarding the improvements that you think could be made, would that be more practice outdoors, do you think, like versus indoors?
I think it's tough in New York City if you have an outdoor sport, especially because like we have to drive like 30, 40 minutes to the closest golf course we can. And but you have to make it work, I think. Like our coach does his best job, and he like drives us every day. So yeah, I really appreciate him. And yeah, like I think just being in the city, it makes it kind of tough. But if we were anywhere else, I would say, yeah, like I'd want to, live right next to a golf course and just be able to walk there. But I think this is like the best that we can do. So I'm pretty happy with this. And yeah, like have you hit a golf ball down in the sim?
I no, I have not. And
Oh, okay. I've got to I've got to bring you again. And yeah,
yeah, when
you
we're
got
back
to
on
test out your
campus,
skills again.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
And like in real life, no matter how many times I swung the club, I maybe hit it like once, but it was like super wrong, and then it just went not very far.
That's okay. Like as long as you hit it, that's all that
As
the
long as
goal
it makes
is really.
contact.
Yeah, it takes a while to develop. I think it takes like a year or two to really like get the swing down until you can like kind of have fun and play. So it's one of those sports where you have to be patient. And
Do you think Wii golf helps?
yeah, I loved Wii golf. Oh
Did
my
it
gosh.
really?
Yeah, I was like pretty bad at it though. But yeah, I think just having the motion down really helps as well. So yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
think
really
that's
interesting. And I think you mentioned your coach drives you every day for practice.
yeah. So he has a van, and we it fits a lot of people, so we can drive to tournaments and to practice every day. And yeah, it's nice.
How is
It beats getting an Uber or the subway.
yeah. Oh, oh my gosh, I could imagine like carrying your do you have to carry your golf clubs
Oh
too?
my God, the number of people I've seen like with their golf clubs in the subway, I think I've seen like at least like three, and I wouldn't want to do that, but
Really?
yeah, yeah,
Heavy.
a lot of people in the city play golf. Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, that's so interesting. I would not think that a lot of people in New York City play golf.
Yeah,
But
just
yeah,
getting to the golf course, that's hard. Yeah, but um,
that's a daily
nice.
occurrence, right? That's like your daily schedule is practice.
Hmm.
You want to give a
Yeah,
run
so
through
every
what
day we have practice from like 1 to 4, 5, 6, and we just take the van, and then yeah, after lunch we'll all get into the van and we'll drive 30, 40 minutes to the course, and we'll practice for a few hours and drive back. And by then it's like dinner time, so the schedule does get a bit compact some days, but I think that yeah, we try to make it work.
What time do you have to get up for classes then? Because I know that athletes, I mean, at least in my first year for Lit Hum, so literature humanities is a core English literature course that we have to take in for Columbia College. And so I took the 8 a.m. one, 8:10 a.m. And in there was like mostly athletes. We got like three football players, two, I think it was softball, and just like athletes, and then the other people who were just early birds. How does
Yeah, I
that
think you're like the only one I saw it in Ferris like in the mornings sometimes.
Yeah, we would we would have grab breakfast and then run to class, which was only like a 2-minute run away.
Mhm.
Ferris was right next to Fernald, so that was nice too. So
Yeah,
how did your class schedule and your sports schedule fit together?
yeah. So it's tough because we have practice, every afternoon. So we have to have all our classes in the morning, and so usually we'll just wake up at like 6, 7 a.m. and get a quick breakfast, and then we have workouts on some days from like 7 to 8, and then run to class, and then class from like 8 to 12. Get a quick lunch, and then practice. Get back at dinner time, and then from there you can either study or hang out with friends. And I did a lot more the latter. So I think but I'm happy with the way I spent my time. I think yeah. How about you? Like, what made you decide on getting that 810, or was that non-optional?
I think I was actually just registered for that because we're
Uh,
pre-registered for LitHum. I think, is that right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I
literally.
just stuck with it. So I stuck with it for my first semester. And then my second semester also, I was just like, might as well wake up. I think it was a Tuesday, Thursday class too. 8, 10, Tuesday, Thursday. I think Wednesdays I got to sleep in. Mondays I got to sleep in a little bit later because I had class at 10 a.m. I can't believe I remember this. But I cannot like imagine, wow, like waking up at 6:30 every day and then practice and then class and then lunch and then practice again.
Yeah, I think it's just about how I saw it most of the days. Like at the beginning of the year, I think I was getting kind of tired of the whole, wake up super early and then, you have to sleep and then you have to study for exams. And yeah, it was a lot. So it felt a bit overwhelming. But towards the end, once you get sort of in the rhythm of it, I think I had a better perspective of what I was doing. And I just perceived it a bit more positively. Like this is, a really cool experience for student athletes to develop our skills, to get healthier. And yeah, I started like looking forward to work out some mornings. So that was kind of a change. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure but it's also pretty liberating to like have your last class at 12 and then just be done for the day, like with
Oh
classes.
yeah. That's nice. That must be nice.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I kind of enjoyed that too. I think I need to get back on that schedule because now I have like classes until like 4 or 5, and I just like don't go to them because like I'm just so tired. Yeah.
Are you guys like still meeting as a team virtually?
Yeah, we do some meetings, so it's nice to see. I actually saw some of my teammates because they were down here for the amateur tournament a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice. Like a lot of people can, or a lot of golfers at least, can kind of see old friends and catch up.
That's good.
And it's golf, so it's kind of a better sport since you're out in the open and you're pretty far apart from each other all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
Were the tournaments not college based, right? It was just like your individual tournaments?
Oh yeah, I mean they were college based. So you have the individual scores which mattered, and there would be an individual standing, and then there would also be the college standing. So a team would win, and then a player would win. So
Oh,
you're
interesting.
kind of playing for both sides. Like if your college was like not that strong, then you're just playing for yourself. So
Oh, that's so
I'm happy that
interesting.
yeah, my team got a lot stronger throughout the year.
How do you prep for a tournament? Is it just like, do you practice? I'm assuming you like practice year round and then like during the season it's more intense practice? Or is that like during the season is when you're playing?
Yeah, so we do sort of like a preseason routine where we work out a lot and practice every day and try to get our games to the point where it's feeling comfortable because like as you know in New York it's really cold, so we can't like
Yeah.
have the conditions that other schools kind of have where they can just be out there all day and yeah, so we just try and play as much golf as we can also. So we just try and play 18 holes and get back to the campus and do our studying then. And like, I'm sure it's like the same as like you studying for like an exam. Like what do you do before a big
Yeah.
exam?
Before a big exam, I think definitely a lot of, I guess, the practice problems, like practice questions for the
Right,
science-based classes would be like your constant practice as a team. And I
right.
also think studying for big exam definitely I go to the classes, I go to lectures, and so I do most of my learning in lectures. So I feel like that is like a consistent year-round thing, right? So I guess that's similar to how athletes have to just like keep it going throughout the entire year, and then during that big exam or during that big tournament, that's when you lay it all on the table.
Yeah. So that's why, like, I think for me, like, what really helped me was trying to like be a bit more mindful of what I was doing and not get like too caught up on like the tournament that's coming up or like the exam that's coming up after that. Because I think that during freshman year, I was just like a bit overwhelmed. I was like trying to get from this place to that and trying to do all of these different things. And I wasn't able to like really focus in on like, one task really well. Like that's why like a really good golfer or alumni of Columbia, this guy named Harrison Shea. He graduated in 2016, and we had a tournament where we were able to talk to him, and he gave me some pretty good advice. And he said, just like figure out how you can be at a tournament on Sunday and then have like a big exam on Monday and be focused for both. And that's kind of been the hardest part for me was, figuring out how I can fit all of these like small things during my day, like lift at 7, lunch and then studying and all of that with having like a big exam coming up and a big tournament coming up. So kind of just focusing on the moment to moment tasks and trying to do everything. Like I know that you use the Pomodoro thing, right?
Do you
Yeah,
watch
like
my study with me?
no, but like I saw like a YouTube video where you uploaded that, and I think that's a really good technique. Is no matter like what you're doing. So maybe I should start incorporating that into my practice, like because like with golf, I think that a lot of what you do needs to be very intentional. Like when you're practicing, if you are like thinking about the tournament coming up, then you're going to be kind of distracted and you're not going to work on the things that really matter. So really just being more focused and kind of just like enjoying what you're doing as well, like, and not trying to be somewhere else. And yeah, I think that's really helped me. And I think it helps with time management too, like just getting everything done in time.
I like that. It's like a different type of, it's the same type of focus, but then different applications, right? Especially with golf, I feel, because you're so
Yeah, I
focused.
think like there's a lot of similarities with like the way I prepared for a golf tournament and the way I prepared for an exam. I probably did the golf part better than the school part, but I'm gonna work on both right now. And yeah, it's like, there's the big anticipation before the exam. Like you gotta do everything you can to prepare for it. But if you're, I guess, too caught up in like the grade or like I guess too caught up in like the fear of maybe failing or something, then you're not really gonna prepare like the best you can. So with golf, yeah, it's just been trying to do everything very intentionally and be very present with what I'm doing. And that's helped a lot, I think.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I guess like talking about studying for these big exams, what was I don't know if you like could remember a specific instance, like do you have a specific time of where you had like during final seasons or during midterm seasons when you also had huge golf commitments?
Yeah, like especially during final season, because our Ivy League championship was, middle of April or yeah, I think towards end of April. And then finals was like 2 weeks away. So I definitely had like midterms during tournaments, and I've had like cases where I, didn't study for a midterm, but I had like a 36-hole tournament that weekend. So I really just had to kind of, for the time being, just forget about the exam and just really zone in on this tournament. And afterward, then I would, start worrying about the exam and start preparing for that. But
Yeah, it's like
really, yeah, yeah, I think,
compartmentalization.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
hard. That's hard because then you're like there's always this thing that's looming behind in your mind, but then you have to like focus on this one thing, get it right, and then you can focus on the
Yeah, and I think the trick is to finding techniques that can help you sort of alleviate the the attention on this big looming thing that's in your mind, and sort of, it feels like you're kind of like carrying this weight on your shoulder sometimes if you have like something coming up. But yeah, like for me, like, practicing these techniques, like I think in golf especially, because you really need to be in the present when you're playing golf. Like everything you do, a lot of people think it's only hitting the shot, but really like you're getting the distance before the shot. You're calculating like the wind and like the slope of the course, and you are selecting the club, and everything really needs to be pretty intentional because you can make a mistake anywhere if your mind is kind of like on a future exam or like something else. So really like all of these things kind of fit into executing the shot. So that's why I think for I guess, school life, that sort of the same thing applies. Like you need to really be there when studying, when even like in your morning routine, like wake up on time and get everything in order. Don't forget anything. And yeah, if you are, I guess, you know, if you are always like focused on the turn or the exam on Monday, then it's really hard to play well in the tournament on Sunday. So that's one thing I've learned, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very unique experience. I guess just in terms of like the student balance with the athlete that like student athletes have. I feel like this is like would make for good stories and would make for just good advice telling for the future.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a challenge like
Mhm.
student athletes have. I'm sure like for you as well, since you had a lot of extracurriculars with clubs and all that, like you had a lot on your plate all the time. So like, how did you sort of like manage all of that and, still like be very productive and very positive in like
Oh,
everything you do?
thank you. Yeah. I think definitely during my first year, I wanted to try a lot of things out. So I did health council. What else did I do? I did SEVs, which I'm still a part of, and I did a bunch of other clubs too. And then I think like exploring those interests, my first year helped me to decide on which ones I was more passionate about, and then which ones I wanted to stick with sophomore year. And so I guess like as we mature throughout college, we prioritize more, and then we're just like through lots of practice, trial and error, we get it. Well, I mean, we're still
Yeah.
in the process of that. We're still trying to
Right,
get
right.
everything
I'm
down
still
right.
learning. Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, I think it's just like being willing to, how should I put it? Being willing to try things out, just being willing to make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes and try not to make them again. But
Right,
know that
yeah.
it's okay to take that time to do that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think a big part of golf is making mistakes. So yeah, you're never gonna play a round of golf without making some mistakes because of like how I guess challenging it is to
Mhm.
always hit the ball in the right area and have
Yeah.
it go to a specific target. So like a big part that I've been practicing is kind of accepting whatever happens because I prepared the best I could. I did all of the practice before a tournament. Was, I got the best yardage I could. I calculated the slope and now I'm just going to hit the shot. But then after the shot is finished, really like I could either judge it and be very, I guess, like critical of myself, or I could accept it and just be okay with hitting a bad shot and sort of learn from it.
Yeah. I think that's good. I feel like in life too, you have to, if something happens for a lot of jobs too, a lot of just like being a human, something happens, you
Yeah,
have to learn how to accept it, I guess, how to deal with it, and then how to be productive for the future. I feel
right.
like that's a really good skill that student athletes are learning.
Yeah. I think anyone really, like any college student, can kind of relate when they have, finals and also like club activities or even like jobs, like how you
Mhm.
can really fit all of that together and sort of still enjoy it, kind of like enjoy the
Yeah.
small.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, like it's been difficult for me like trying to learn that, but I think one thing that's helped me is kind of just I mean you said like this part of like about like a looming burden hanging over your head.
Hmm.
I think for me like just noticing that there is like a burden is good enough to realize that all it is really just like a thought that's
Hmm.
kind of there. I can either really get caught up in it or I can kind of just let it go. So I don't know. I think stuff in golf really like projects itself onto life, sort of. I might be, yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah, that
I
makes
think
sense.
that's just my opinion. Yeah,
Yeah.
like sometimes in golf, like you're on a hole and then you're thinking about either last hole because you hit a bad shot, or you're
Mhm.
thinking about the next hole because you're really afraid of like the water on the
Mhm.
left. But yeah, you really have to just notice that these are kind of just your fears and your worries and just really just focus on what you can do, and what that is like the next shot. So
Life is a golf course. Title of a new
yeah,
book.
kind of, yeah. Yeah.
What you were saying before, this is like something that I've been wondering because of my lack of golf knowledge, but your just description of the course just now, do they intentionally put those like the water? This is like my experience with Wii golf. Like I see that they're like you hit the ball into the water, or you hit it onto the green. What do those terms for very non people who do not have knowledge about golf, like what do those terms mean?
Yeah. So like, yeah, in golf, like the course designers are really evil, and they want to make you as frustrated as possible. So they'll put like, there's this thing called the bunker, and it's this big area of sand. And once you get in there, it's kind of hard to get it out and get it close to the hole. And they'll just put those like right next to your target. And the green is kind of where the pin is, and that's where you're aiming and trying to get onto the putting surface so you can make a putt. I'm sure you play mini golf, right?
Yes, I play mini golf.
Yeah. So mini golf is really just the putting aspect of golf. It's like a portion of the whole thing. So you're just trying to get onto the easier surface where you can roll it in. But before that, there are a lot of obstacles to avoid, like the sand and the water that's always like right next to your target.
That's
so
really
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like this is like I took art hum this past semester, so art humanities, which is the course where we learn about like different artistic styles and different artistic choices. And then there was this unit on architecture and how everything is, we focus a lot about like on how everything is a choice, an intentional choice, and architects can really control the way you move through space. So this is just reminding me a lot about that, about how those like golf course designers can really like play with your mind psychologically, but also just like physically make things difficult or easier. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah, I think architecture is really an interesting subject to study, and like golf architecture is, yeah, some of the you'll find some of like the most unique and like creative designs through golf because of like how they really like play with the player's mental game. Like they know that, all right, there's like a water on the right, there's a bunker on the left. The next hole is also pretty hard. Like how do we make the player really scared here and like try and mess with them? But you know, most of the time it's like a lot of people say that golf is like 95% psychological because you're just really playing against yourself on the course. You're not like interfering with anyone else, and really like no one's really talking to each other most of the time, at least like during shots. So you're really just out there with your own thoughts and with your own feelings, and you have to figure out how to get this ball in a hole and manage everything. Yeah, so it helps you learn a lot about yourself, I think, but there are a lot of things in life I think that can do the same thing. So
a lot of introspection when you're alone with that golf club.
yeah, sometimes it makes you go crazy. Like you're out there for 10 hours, you're just walking, and you know
10 hours? Is that how long like a tournament is? Or
so college tournaments, we sometimes play 2 rounds of golf in the same day to like try and get more in. So we'll have like, you know, wake up at like 6 a.m., prepare for your tee time, and then tee off at 8, and then we're not off the course until like 7, and we're out there from like dawn to dusk. So it's pretty cool experience. Yeah, it's really different.
You need to put on a lot of sunscreen for the whole day.
Yeah, not up in north, but yeah.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. How far ahead do you have to think? Like when you're, how many holes? Is that like how many rounds? My terminology for a golf game is not very.
No, there's 18 holes in a round. Okay. So yeah, usually once you get to like hole 15, 16, 17, a lot of times I find myself thinking of like what I'm going to shoot after 18, and like my mind starts to wander. So it's really like about just like getting back to the next shot and staying focused. And I think that being like such a different sort of game, because every shot really matters in golf. Like I guess in basketball or football, like if you have one bad shot, it really takes like 7 or 8 or like a streak of bad shots to really start to get to you. But in golf, sometimes just one shot can ruin your whole round because you can hit in the water and then you get a penalty for that, and then you're in a bad position, and yeah, like one hole can really like affect your round. So it's really, yeah, it's a really really important to have the mental game down, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. I did not know that. I mean, I guess I just like never thought of it that way, but that makes sense. It's like,
Yeah, maybe maybe you'll take
I'm
up
just
golf
like
now.
wrapping my head around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's
Cool.
a really cool game. It's very different. A lot of people see it and they're like, it's really slow, it's really boring, and that's true. But it also is like,
All happening in here, in the
yeah,
mind.
it also is just a lot of patience and a lot of waiting, and sometimes sometimes you need to do that in life. So nothing. It's not always just like go go go. Sometimes you have to wait for an opportunity, and yeah, that's golf sometimes.
Yeah. Put that quote on your wall, everyone. Yeah. I think there's a lot about golf that people might not know. Like for instance, I remember for our first year, I was reading like a Columbia Lions athletics thing, article, and then it was talking about golf, right? And then it was like Daniel Core, first year, scored under par or subpar or something like that. I was like, why would they write that? Why would they write an article if he's like subpar? Doesn't that mean like it's like something bad happened? So I was like asking, I was like, what does that mean? Do you want to explain what that
Yeah,
actually?
there's like so much confusing terminology in golf that I feel like they just need to rename everything and get like beginners into it. But yeah, like less shots are better in golf, as you probably know. And there's this thing called the par on in golf where every hole you kind of are expected to make a certain number of shots in the hole. So like if hole number one is a par four, that means that if you have a four, then you have a par and you're, par for the course. That's good.
On
But if you have like a five or a six, then you're over par.
par.
And then you're like, you can start to build up. So then after the round, you like tally all those up and see if you're over par or you're under par. And it's really like a combination of all of the holes and all of the good and bads. So you can have like one bad hole, but if you have like 2 or 3 good holes, and you're still under par, so that's good.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just in my mind because par sounds like bar. So I'm like, you have a bar and really if you're subpar, it's bad. But no, in golf, subpar, do you call it subpar or is it called under par?
We call it under par.
Okay, yeah. So
I think
under
I'll start calling it subpar though. Just like it's pretty funny. Yeah. It's like I played subpar today. Like I actually played pretty good.
That is so funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And all the calculations, I like when you were describing the process of thinking like which club to choose, which like how far, like the calculating the distance and the wind. Do you actually like lick your finger and to the wind?
No, I think most players, I mean, I don't know, maybe some weird players lick their fingers, but I think that's kind of unsanitary. Most of us just like pick up a piece of grass and just like let it go and see where the wind takes it, and we base our decisions off that. But yeah, like usually we'll get our rangefinder, which is like this device that gets the distance, and we'll shoot the pin, and then it'll say like 100 yards, right? And then if the wind is coming like towards us and it's a bit like uphill, then we'll be like, okay, maybe that's like a 110, 115 yard shot. So we'll have to kind of like judge it based on how we're feeling that day. Like, am I hitting it short or far? How soft is, I guess, the ground? Is it gonna like roll or is it gonna sort of stop? And yeah, a lot of different things. There's a lot of external factors that come into play, like wind and the length of grass and all that.
Nature.
Yeah, it's like all about yeah, it's all about just letting go of control. And once you hit the shot, there's a lot of things that could happen that you can't really contend with. So you're just there watching it. So yeah.
That's interesting. A bird could come and steal the ball and you'll never.
Yeah, birds have done that.
Wait,
They've
really?
flown on the green. Yeah, at least on TV, I've seen a video where a bird flew on the green and picked up this pro player's golf ball and flew with it in his mouth. So
Oh my gosh, what happened?
yeah.
Does that count? Imagine it just dropped it in the hole though. That would be perfect.
Yeah, and gators too. Yeah.
In Florida, right? Gators in Florida.
Yeah, I guess in Florida, maybe in other places too. But have you seen Happy Gilmore?
No, I have not.
Oh, watch Happy Gilmore.
What is
Yeah, there's
that?
a cool scene with a
Oh,
gator and a golf ball. Yeah.
oh, okay. Wow. That is so interesting. I was kidding, but that is a real thing, everyone. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Thinking about like the more fiscal or financial side of it, how do athletic scholarships work? Kind of changing the topic here, but like how do athletic scholarships work um, in college in general or at Columbia or at in
Yeah.
the Ivy League?
Good question. So in the Ivy League, it's actually very different,
Mhm.
where I don't think that you're allowed to get scholarships necessarily in the Ivy League because, I mean, I think it's for a number of reasons, but yeah, so for any other school, you can get an athletic scholarship and kind of the school can pay you to go there based on your athletic ability. But for the Ivy League, you would need to, you can use financial aid or you can use other grants, but they don't provide scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it is a bit different. And yeah, golf is a very, one of the more financially, like, I guess, burdening sports because of how much like golf clubs cost and all that. But like nowadays for juniors, there's a lot more going on with sponsorships. Like some companies will give juniors free clubs because they want to provide more opportunities and they'll fly people out to tournaments and stuff. So it's
Cool.
getting a lot more accessible and that's great.
What is the juniors? Is that like a division, juniors versus seniors, or?
Yeah, like I think that if you're just under 18 and you're not in
Oh,
college golf, you're kind of considered a junior. And
okay.
once you are, after college golf, you're considered like an amateur. And then
Oh,
once you get onto the one of the tours, you're considered a pro.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not know that. Oh, I'm learning so much today. This is cool. This is cool knowledge.
Was it like the same in swimming? Like, do
I
people get
actually
like
don't
athletic
know.
scholarships?
I know like some people, I didn't swim year round, so I was just like a seasonal swimmer. But they do have like junior Olympics, and I don't know if the specific terminology that they're referred to as, but maybe I could
Yeah, that's really
look
cool.
for Google after this. That is
Did
it.
you have like rankings? Like, were you ranked as a
Oh
swimmer?
gosh, no, I don't think I was ranked. Not fast enough. Not fast enough. Cool. Moving on to some fun questions. Let's think. Is there anything you want to share before the fun questions? Anything you
Uh,
want to add on?
yeah, I guess I would just, if I could give myself advice, because I don't know if there are like people in high school who are athletes trying to get into colleges right now and
Mhm.
are, yeah, I mean, if I could give myself advice for back then, I would say like, I think that I've seen a lot of junior players in golf, at least, they get to the point where they have to start getting to college and really like their game starts dropping a lot because they're more focused on the score and the result and trying to like impress this college rather than really like what they're out there to do, which is enjoy the game and to enjoy improving at like this really fun game. So
Mhm.
I guess if I could like give myself advice for the past, I would say, like, yeah, like do all the like recruiting stuff on the side, like email coaches and call and visit schools, but also just remember that at the end of the day, it's a fun game, and
Mhm.
even though it's a competition, you're still just trying to improve at it, and you're still just learning this craft and doing something that you love. So yeah, just enjoy it. Yeah.
Clapping into the mic. Does it sound weird on your end? That's a clap. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
awesome. I really like that. That's good advice. Nice. Very insightful. Now, to
I'm
bring
down for some
some
fun questions.
more fun insight, Okay, so these are just we'll think of questions on the way too. We had some before. So this is an interesting. This is like a demographic study. What is the most popular major in the golf team?
Economics.
Okay.
Because our only classes that kind of like work out with golf because of practice is economics, because it's always in the morning. All the econ majors are up in the morning. I wanted to do CS, but all the CS classes were in the afternoon because I guess they thought like CS majors are just going to sleep in, or yeah. So a lot of athletes major in econ actually, and I think that they should change up the schedules to give more opportunities, because yeah, it's tough for athletes to major in stuff like, you know, computer science or like film or creative writing, because the times don't really accommodate with practice.
I did not know that. That was the reason why, like, there was, I guess, like golf. I guess on the golf team, it's like mostly econ. It's because of the class schedule. But
But
on the class schedule.
yeah, but lately I think that we've had a lot more people like going against the grain and sort of being like, I'm not going to go to practice. I'm going to be a film major, and I really support that.
All right. Okay. Another question is, there is a men's golf team at Columbia. There's also a women's golf team at Columbia. Do you guys practice together? How do you guys know each other? Do you do bonding together? What is that like?
Yeah, so I think that the men's and women's team, I mean, we don't practice with each other because we practice at different golf courses. And I think it's because each golf course kind of suits our play style a bit more. Like one's a bit shorter and a bit, I guess, more like centered on like short game, and the other one is more centered on like long game. So there's like a bit of difference there. But yeah, no, we don't really practice together, and I wish that we did, because it would be great for team bonding. And I think most of the team bonding we have to do is sort of off the team and like on our own time. So yeah, it would be cool to start doing like workouts and like practice together. Yeah.
I know, like fencing, right? Fencing is the team is. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's men's and women's, but then they practice together, or at least.
I knew a fencer, Infernal. It's a really cool sport. But do they practice together?
I remember I was in Dodge early morning, not that early, like 9 a.m. On a weekend, and I saw them. They were in the basketball court, not the official one, but like the blue gym, and they were all doing workouts together. So that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering, like, tournaments, are they also based on like men's teams versus women's teams?
Yeah, so it would be, I think we go to different tournaments. So it would be like men's team against men's team and then women's against women's.
Okay.
But we do have a tournament where it's kind of an alumni tournament where we can play with, or it's like both the men's and the women's play with an alumni. And then we kind of have a fun day and try and play the best we can and win the tournament for the alumni. So it's fun. But yeah, I think that most of the team bonding we do, like it's like we'll just go out to K-Town or like get dinner, and it's mostly like outside of golf. So
nice.
We'll never really like play together or like play around together. Yeah.
Do you think that the alum network is strong for the golf team?
Yeah, I think it's pretty strong, like for Columbia in general.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know this, but many programs like golf they run on donations. So they really depend on the alumni to sort of provide and really like maintain the program. And that's why like some programs like Dartmouth and Brown this year were cut. And that means that their golf team, like, their program got cut. So most of the golfers just weren't able to play anymore. And I think that we're very fortunate because we have like such a generous alumni division. And yeah, we're able to like improve our practice facility a lot and improve our team.
Oh, nice. Shout out to the golf alum at Columbia. Thank you. Okay, nice. Moving on to a quirky question. Not a quirky question. An animal question. We were talking about birds and gators before, but those were parts of nature that also are part of your golf game. But what animal do you think best represents your sport and why?
Probably turtles. People at my golf course are like turtles. Like they just take forever to play. I'm like stuck behind them and I just can't get anywhere. Yeah, turtles are, I don't know. They're pretty cool. They can't get anywhere unless they like come out of their shell and like really start to adventure. So
Whoa, I like that. I like that
yeah,
analogy. Golf players need
yeah.
to come out of their shell. But then, like when they're hiding in their shell, it's like when they're thinking and they'll hit the putt. Is that what we call it? Hit the putt?
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we call it? Okay. Cool, cool.
yeah.
Learning. Okay, awesome. What are three words that you would use to describe your sport? I know you said like, I guess three fun words, three words that we wouldn't expect.
Three fun words. Well, one of the words I prepared was fun. So I don't know.
Okay, we
Yeah,
got
okay,
that.
so
It's
that counts.
fun.
Yeah. Second word would probably be like four, which is something that you yell when you hit a shot that's going to hit someone on the golf course, is you yell four really loud.
Four.
And yeah, every golfer knows that that means that they have to duck and like cover their heads, or
Oh,
else they're gonna get it.
did you watch High School Musical? You, I think,
Yeah,
when
no, I
Sharpay
didn't.
was learning
Right.
golf. I think they yelled four really loud, or maybe I'm just imagining that, but I never really knew why. But yeah,
Yeah, that's why. That's
Troy was
why.
teaching Sharpay to all
Mhm.
our High School Musical fans out there. Troy was teaching Sharpay how to swing. Well, she was pretending not to know how to play golf, but she was actually really good. And then
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
that was a that was fun.
I don't know if anyone watches George Lopez, but there's like one episode where like he was pretending to be in college when he was at a driving range, and then someone like he was on a phone call with his wife, and someone yelled, four, and he was like, "Oh, I think the correct answer is five."
Did it hit him, the ball?
Yeah,
Imagine.
no, but it's getting pretty mainstream like that terminology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. George
Yeah, I
Lopez.
guess the last one would be, I don't know, I guess beautiful. Like it's a beautiful game. There's like a lot of uniqueness, a lot of expression to it. I think that it gets, you know, it's kind of like on the surface, it seems like this really boring game for like old people, but like once you really like play it and get to know it, it's like, yeah, there's a lot more that is under the surface.
The old people were young ones too. Remember that.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's nice. I like that. It's a beautiful sport.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely play it until I get like, even when I'm super old, like
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely enjoy it because you can play it at any age, and that's why it's really like a universal sport.
Do they sell mini clubs
Yeah.
your height? Or like
Yeah. So for like really young kids, they'll have like these tiny little clubs that
so
are really
cute.
cute. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Okay, cool. What else? What other fun things do you want to share about golf or about being a student athlete or about college in general?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess like I have this pretty funny story with like I had this putting coach, right? And my parents kind of like hired him because he was pretty popular.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is Frank Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
He basically like every time I went to a lesson, we would do nothing except like putt. And I would have like this problem, right? Where I was like missing this putt one way or the other way. And I'd be like, hey, I think I'm doing this wrong. Like, what should I be doing? And then he just says like, no, just let it go. And I'll be like, okay, but like during the tournament, I like do this. And I was like, trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. But he would always just be like, just let it go.
He sounded like that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
And
does
he was
that
like this,
mean?
yeah,
Did you
very
ever find
elderly
out what that
person.
meant?
Yeah. Yeah. And sorry, what did you say?
Did you ever find out what that meant? Let it go?
I found out like years after because he was always talking about like wu a lot. Like, do you take Chinese or like, do you know what wu means?
What was it?
Wu.
Wait. No,
It's
what
a
is that?
Chinese word. Yeah, it means like I guess just like non-action or like
Oh.
non-interference.
Oh, okay.
And he was always just like preaching that, and I would be so confused because I would pay $300 a lesson for this guy for 2 hours, and he would just be telling me the same thing, just like, don't worry, don't think, let it go. And it wasn't until like I guess last year I was kind of just like, you know, in a pretty bad spot with golf, and I realized that I was sort of like thinking too much about it and getting too technical with what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was focused too much on the results and the score rather than just kind of I guess letting it go and just letting the putt do what it needs to do and not really interfering that much with it. And I guess that's why if you look at like professional golfers on TV, they always look like they're in this really focused zone. And I was never sure if they were like actually thinking a lot, like trying to stay focused, or if they actually like didn't think at all. So I guess like that's what he was trying to teach me, was like trying to get to this point where you have no thoughts and you're just letting your body do what you've been practicing and do this motion. So I guess I want to ask, like in swimming, like was that kind of like a similar thing? Like
Yeah, I think so. I think I get what you mean, because like when we're now I'm just thinking like I would sometimes when I'm just like swimming, not in a meet, just like regularly, it's a time for because there's no distractions. You're literally underwater and your face is under the water. So you can think about whatever you want. And then I was just like, I was talking with my mom and I was like, yeah, I'm like swimming's nice because then you can just think about whatever you want. And then the more I think about it, it's like it's actually a good time to empty your mind, especially when you're like preparing for a meet. Like I guess you shouldn't really be thinking about your homework or anything else.
yeah, right,
Just
right.
think about kicking as hard as you can, doing that flip turn, and then like rushing back and tapping the touch board at the end as fast as you can, and that's all you're thinking about.
Right. Do you ever swim in the ocean?
No, I don't. Have you?
I like tried to pick up surfing, but like it
Oh,
was so
cool.
hard. I couldn't stand on the board, and I'm trying to get better at it. But
You skateboard?
no,
Okay,
I should probably do that first. But
like land.
yeah, snowboarding also seems fun. But
Mhm.
I like read this analogy, and it might be kind of cliche, but it's like, oh, like if you're like swimming in an ocean and there's like a lot of ripples and like a lot of waves in the surface, you
Mhm.
can go under the waves, and it's actually really peaceful.
Mhm.
And but then if you like try to fight the surface, you're gonna get like swept away. So
Yeah.
like I guess for golf and I guess for like a lot of other aspects of my life, like just being sort of behind the thoughts, kind of like noting the thoughts, and I guess being aware of all of these emotions and thoughts, especially like fears and worries. It's hard to fight them, but just being aware and letting them kind of pass by has been really like the most helpful for me in my game and in my life. So yeah, I don't know if that was really helpful, but
We
yeah.
got another quote to hang on your wall. That was good. The
No,
wave.
please, like I read this really good mental game book that talked a lot about this stuff. So I can link it for people because I think
Yeah.
it's a great thing for just life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's a good resource. Nice.
yeah.
All right. What other fun questions can we have? What, I guess, things that only golf players will know.
Uh I guess like how yeah, I guess I touched on this a bit before, but I guess how like how much of a mental sport it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
because I had this thought in my last tournament because I used to practice for like 3 or 4 hours every day to prepare for a tournament and like really just be out there grinding. And
Mm-hmm.
then like I would have these huge expectations for myself, and it would actually like add on to the pressure. So I think that once your game is at a certain point, like 95, 99% of it is really like how you're feeling that day. If you're like really calm, really relaxed, and if you can sort of like show the ability that you can show without the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why like a lot of golfers will know this, is that everyone in a tournament has the ability to win, I think. But it depends on if they really believe that they can win and if they can really execute that ability during the time when they need to. And I don't know, yeah, like so yeah, for me, like last tournament, I think I did pretty poorly the first day because I was a bit nervous and I had a lot on my mind with like the result and how many people were playing and like
Mm-hmm.
how important the tournament was. But the second day, I was kind of just more relaxed. I didn't really practice that much in between, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then I play a lot better. So
Good.
sometimes I guess
You need a
less
break.
is more in a way. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Because like when you're like your exam analogy too, like if you're up all night studying, you're losing sleep,
Right.
you're doing ineffective or just like non-productive practice, or
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
reading the textbook, you're just like doing your practice problems, and then you wake up, your test is the next morning or that morning, and then
Hmm.
you're like, I should have just gone to sleep earlier, or I should have just
Exactly.
stopped studying earlier. And
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. That's cool.
Well, I mean, Happy New Year's also. I forgot to say that.
Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. It
Yeah,
is January
2021.
1st.
Let's
We probably should have said that.
go.
So
Yeah, I guess I
happy
want to ask,
2021.
yeah, like, do you
Yeah.
have any like New Year resolutions or goals?
New Year's resolutions. Oof. Yeah. Let me think. That's a good question. We should have, I should have asked that too. I'm thinking, I think my New Year's resolution is to stop overthinking, stop like putting thoughts into other people's minds, like so like stop worrying about what other people are thinking,
Yeah.
and just stop thinking about like judgments and everything like that, and just focusing on doing what I want to do without, I mean, obviously thinking about like consequences, but without overthinking the consequences, you know?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I think the same. That's also a good goal of mine. But probably just to cook a lot more. Like
Yeah,
I
I like
want to
that
cook.
goal.
Yeah, I want to cook every meal I can because I felt really bad in the fall. I was like postmating way too much, and like yeah, like I'd rather just like learn how to cook, and it saves a lot of money in New York, as you know, and it's a really
Mhm.
good skill to have. So
That's good. Yeah,
yeah.
I think that also should be just to be a better adult, to be more adulty.
Yeah, yeah.
Adult.
So if you know any good recipes, just send them my way. And
Yeah. I mean, my
really,
sister is a really good baker, so we were lucky.
oh,
Like, I mean, she's at home with me now.
it's
Um,
impressive. Yeah.
so we had some great holiday cheesecakes and cakes and stuff like that. So that was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see. What else? What else? What else? Ooh. Oh, big question for the future. What are you planning on doing after college?
Yeah, that is a big question. Yeah, I think I could ask you the same thing as well. Like, but I'll go first.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'm planning to be a professional golfer, and what that means is
Clap,
I'm
clap.
gonna play a lot of qualifiers and try and get into the best tour I can,
Mhm.
and start making money through golf. And but I know that in order to do that, I kind of have to just focus on stuff I'm doing now, which is passing my classes first of all, and you know, improving my game and getting better in the gym and all that. So yeah,
Nice.
I'm sort of taking it one step at a time, and it's good to have like this far out goal, but
Yeah.
yeah, the only way I can get there is really like through these small steps.
Yeah. What percent of people do you think from college sports or from Columbia as a school make it to professional teams?
From Colombia, I'd say not as many because of how many other opportunities there are. Like a lot of people find another passion, they
Mhm.
go into engineering, they go into like med.
Mhm.
So yeah, like there's a lot of different career paths you can pursue, which nothing wrong with that. But there actually have been a few players to have tried, and one player made it onto the Latin tour. So his name is Harrison Shit. I'm gonna shout him
Oh, yeah,
shout
you
him out
mentioned
again.
that. Hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I hope that he gets on the PGA tour soon and we can play together. So, and then also like tons of other really talented guys on the team right now, I think are, have a really good chance of making it. Like this guy named Nathan Hahn, he was a freshman last year. So I think he took a gap year, but he's a very good player. And Arjun Puri from India, he's also very motivated. So yeah, I'm excited to graduate and play more golf with all these guys. And
Nice. Can't
yeah, how
wait.
about you? Like, what are your goals after college?
After college, I think some more school. So hopefully med
Oh,
school, and
yeah.
then more training after that, and then hopefully become a medical doctor in the future.
Yay. That's great.
Yay.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I was also watching this to prep for our podcast today, literally like a few minutes before we met.
Uh,
I was watching this Off the Pill podcast by Ryan Higa, and it was
oh,
one with
love that guy.
𝗪𝗪𝗘𝗡, and they were talking about how like his goal to become famous, or his goal to become like a musician, or just like like a big presence in social media. And he was like, was it they were talking about whether it was his dream or something like that. And then he's like, when we're thinking about a big goal, frame it not as a dream, but as something that you know or you think will happen. And so every step he's taking is going towards that goal. So by not referring to it as a dream, as something that, like is like tough to happen, like just thinking about like it will happen in the future and then just moving towards that specific goal. I feel like that was a good.
I do as well. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I love 𝗪𝗔𝗍𝗃, so that's great to motivate.
Funny guy.
Yeah. I think that just helps with being confident as well in your own ability. Like, if you have a big dream, then you're kind of expecting yourself to either make it or not make it, sort of. But if it's a goal, then really there's only one target. And, if you make mistakes, then you make them. But if you do what you enjoy for long enough, you're going to get really good at it. And, the money will come and all that will also come. But yeah, I mean, so that's all I have.
Yeah, I think that was great. I feel like that's a good note to end on too.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on the episode 1 of the Open Mic podcast. We're so excited to be starting this. I feel like I'm learning so much too. Like I hope the audience is too, like the listeners who are listening to this are learning a lot, not just about golf, like the specific like sport, but also about just like life as a student athlete. Also just some good life advice for down the road, because I think it's very insightful, this episode. Do you have anything you want to plug or anyone you want to shout out?
Yeah, I mean, just first of all, I just want to say like a huge thank you for inviting me onto here. Like it's my first podcast, so I hope that I did okay, and I'm trying to get better at, I guess, like speaking in general. Like I didn't speak that much in CC, so which is one of the other core classes we had at Columbia. So I missed out on that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, for shout outs, like, I guess I want to shout out my friend Mahad at Columbia. A lot of people don't know this, but he is a very funny guy and a very good comedian. And I think that he's going to have a Netflix special very soon. So you better follow him. And
keep your eye out for him.
So yeah, and for everyone else, just, pursue your goals and do what you love, and everything will work out. So that's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah, thank you again. It's been great.
Yay. And to wrap up the podcast, if you're watching this on YouTube as a video podcast, then please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on any other podcast streaming platform, don't forget to follow and also like if that is a possibility. Thank you so much for joining us on our first episode. I hope you enjoyed this. Dan taught me a lot about golf and life today, so I hope you guys have learned that too. Have learned a lot about that too. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.